Chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That restlessness you have been feeling since yesterday, the one pulling you toward your window, toward your door, toward anywhere but where you are, stop. Stay exactly where you are. The Archangels do not dispatch warnings without reason, and tonight they are moving. Something is being decided in the spirit realm in the next 3 days. Not next month, not next year. The next 72 hours. And where you position yourself tonight is not a small thing, it is everything. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not surface this for you. The angelic realm did. This is a divine assignment, scheduled before the foundations of the earth, delivered to you at precisely the right moment. You are standing at a threshold that most people will sleep through entirely. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes, I am going to reveal exactly what the Archangels are guarding against in this 3-day window. I am going to show you the specific spiritual posture you must hold tonight and the 2 days that follow. And at the end, I am going to give you a declaration that seals the protection over your household and positions you to receive what is being released at the close of this window. Do not leave this message early. Your future self is on the other side of these next 3 days, and the choices you make tonight determine whether you walk into what heaven has prepared or whether you leave that door open for what has been sent to steal it. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not simply been quiet. It has been charged, like the pressure before a storm that hasn't broken yet. Heavy in a way you cannot fully explain to someone who hasn't felt it themselves. Maybe you found yourself standing in a room in your house tonight, not entirely sure why you walked in there, feeling a pull you could not name, a low hum of unease sitting just beneath your sternum. Or maybe you kept looking at your phone this week, waiting for something, checking for a message or a sign that something had shifted, but the silence on the other end felt louder than noise. Perhaps you sat at your window at some point in the last few days, watching the outside world move, and felt this strong and specific sense that you were not supposed to be out there right now, that something was telling you to stay in, to be still. You dismissed it. You told yourself it was fatigue. You told yourself you were being irrational, but you were not being irrational. You were being warned, and in the silence of this waiting, the enemy has slipped a very specific lie into the quiet. Listen carefully to what has been running through your thoughts this week. He has been telling you that this stillness is stagnation, that the reason nothing is moving is because you have fallen behind, that everyone else is out there building, advancing, connecting, and you are here indoors, waiting, stuck. He has been replaying that moment when you chose to stay in, when you turned down the invitation, when you said no to the thing that everyone around you said you should be doing. He has been telling you that restraint was fear, that your stillness was weakness, that you have missed the window by standing still. That is the lie. And it is precisely what I am here to dismantle tonight. Here is what the scripture actually says about this moment. 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 and 12. Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. Hear that. The directive was not to go and make noise. It was not to go and be seen. It was to go and stand, to be still enough to hear what the wind and the earthquake and the fire could not carry. The enemy wants you moving. He wants you out of position. He wants you noisy, distracted, and exposed, because a chosen one in motion is easier to intercept than a chosen one who has planted their feet and refused to be moved. The heaviness you feel tonight is not punishment. It is not isolation. It is not heaven forgetting your name. It is the weight of an angelic perimeter being established around your life. The archangels do not guard what is empty. They guard what is about to be filled. You thought staying in tonight was the small choice. You thought the silence of these 3 days was the pause before your real life begins. Let me reframe your reality right now. This is not the pause. This is the preparation. The 3 days you spend in position are the 3 days that determine what the next season is made of. You are not being held back. You are being held together long enough to receive what is coming through the door that heaven is about to open. That moment when you chose stillness over movement, when you chose your threshold over the noise outside, that was not weakness. That was obedience. And obedience in the spirit realm is not passive. It is the most violent act of warfare you can commit against an enemy who needs you distracted to complete his assignment. You did not miss the window. You are the window. What you're feeling right now isn't fear. It's recognition. Something in you already knew this moment was coming. You didn't stumble onto this message by accident. You didn't just happen to be scrolling at this exact hour. There are no coincidences in the kingdom of God. And if you've been feeling an unusual pull to be still, to stay in, to quiet the noise around you, that isn't anxiety talking. That is heaven speaking directly to the part of you that still knows how to listen. It's the inner compass, the soul's whisper, resonating with a truth that has always resided within you, a deep knowing that transcends logical explanation. It's like a homing pigeon, instinctively returning to its loft, a seed recognizing the perfect soil for its germination. This is not the frantic clamor of an overstimulated mind, but the clear, resonant tone of divine communication, a frequency that only your spirit can tune into. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now stay with me, because what I'm about to walk you through is not a warning meant to frighten you. It is a warning meant to position you. And there is a profound difference between those two things. A warning to frighten paralyzes, locking you in a state of dread, making you a spectator to your own life. But a warning meant to position empowers. It's like a coach giving you the strategic play before the big game, not to scare you, but to ensure you know your role and can execute the victory. It's the difference between a thunderclap that shakes you to your core and a gentle breeze that guides you toward shelter. The enemy does not announce himself. He never has. He doesn't knock at the front door of your life and introduce himself as destruction. He comes as distraction. He comes as busyness, as noise, as the invitation to step outside of a sacred window at exactly the wrong moment. Think about what happened to Lot's wife. She was already in the process of being delivered. The angels had taken her by the hand. She had done everything right up until the final moment, and then she turned back. Not out of defiance, out of attachment, out of a love for what was familiar that outweighed her trust in what was ahead. And that single act of looking back cost her everything. Her gaze, a fleeting moment of longing for the comfort of the known, became a monument to a destiny unfulfilled. This is not about a dramatic fall from grace, but the subtle erosion of purpose through an unhealthy clinging to the past, a magnetic pull towards what once was that blinds us to the divine unfolding before us. Right now, there are people being called to stay still who are choosing to move, and it is not because they are rebellious. It is because they have been trained by this world to associate stillness with weakness, to mistake rest for laziness, to confuse a divine pause with spiritual regression. This world whispers insidious lies that our worth is found in constant motion, in relentless productivity, in being seen and acknowledged for outward achievements. But the spiritual realm operates on a different paradigm. Stillness is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the fertile ground where seeds of revelation are sown. Rest is not idleness, it is replenishment, a sacred refueling for the journey ahead. This divine pause is not regression, it is strategic repositioning, a sacred recalibration of your soul. But here's what you need to understand about the way God works. He rarely moves the way the world moves. His timing is not loud, his instruction is not flashy, and his protection is often invisible to the eye that refuses to see beyond the surface. God's movements are often like the silent, steady growth of a mighty oak, or the gentle unfurling of a sunrise, powerful yet understated. His instructions arrive not as booming pronouncements, but as quiet nudges, subtle inklings, a growing conviction within. And his protection is often an unseen shield, a divine hedge that guards us from dangers we never even perceive, allowing us to walk through perilous paths unscathed, unaware of the enemy's traps. But here's where it goes deeper. The reason staying indoors is significant in this moment has nothing to do with physical walls. The instruction is not about brick and mortar, it is about spiritual positioning. When God tells a people to stay in, He is not keeping them from the world. He is keeping the world from interfering with something He is doing inside of them. Think about the night of Passover. The Israelites were told to apply the blood and remain inside their homes, not because God needed them to hide, but because what was passing through that night required them to be covered, consecrated, and still. The angel of death passed over every home that was marked, but the marking required an act of deliberate obedience. The covering only worked if they stayed under it. This ancient instruction was not about mere physical safety. It was a profound spiritual lesson in the power of abiding under divine covering. It was a testament to the fact that obedience, coupled with faith, creates a sacred space where protection and transformation can occur. You are being marked right now. And the question is whether you will stay under the covering long enough for it to do what it was sent to do. Are you willing to remain within this divinely appointed space, allowing the sacred work to be completed within you? Or will you allow the fleeting allure of the outside world to pull you away from this vital season of consecration? This is a moment of decision, a crossroads where obedience paves the way for destiny. And what's coming next may surprise you, because most people think the battle is in front of them. They have their eyes fixed on the enemy advancing. But the real movement is happening on the inside, in the quiet, in the unseen place where God is doing surgery without you even knowing the procedure has begun. The external landscape can often deceive us, making us believe the war is fought on the visible battlefield. But the profound battles, the ones that truly shape our destiny, are waged in the silent chambers of our hearts and minds. It's here, in the deep recesses of our being, that God performs His meticulous work, mending what is broken, refining what is impure, and awakening what is dormant. This internal transformation is often so subtle, so profound, that we are unaware of its miraculous progress until we emerge, fundamentally changed. This is where most people miss it entirely. They are so busy fighting what they can see that they are completely unprepared for what God is actually doing behind the veil. The real war in this season is not external. The forces you need to be aware of tonight are not operating on the street. They are operating in your mind, in your memory, in the old wounds that never fully closed, in the agreements you made with rejection years ago that are still dictating how you move today. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can simply keep you distracted enough to walk out of your own covering. He thrives on confusion and misdirection, aiming his arrows not at your defenses, but at your very perception. He magnifies the external noise to drown out the internal whisper of truth, to keep you perpetually engaged in a battle that is not the primary focus of your divine assignment. He capitalizes on the wounds that have scabbed over but never truly healed, using them as entry points to sow discord and doubt, subtly influencing your decisions and sabotaging your progress. But here's the part no one wants to hear. Some of what has been pulling you outside, pulling you toward noise, pulling you back into chaos, some of that pull has felt good. It has felt like connection. It has felt like living. And that is precisely why it is so dangerous. The enemy is not always violent. Sometimes he is charming. Sometimes the thing that is pulling you away from your divine assignment feels like freedom when it is actually a leash. You have to be honest with yourself about what has been claiming your time, your energy, your attention in this season. Because heaven is not competing for your schedule. Heaven is waiting for you to make room. This deceptive allure is perhaps the most insidious tactic of the adversary. He doesn't always wield a sword. Often, he offers a gilded cage, presenting that which distracts and derails as freedom, as fulfillment, as genuine connection. He masquerades as a purveyor of life, drawing you away from the source of true life with promises of fleeting satisfaction. The challenge lies in discerning between the genuine abundance of God and the counterfeit pleasures offered by the world, a discernment that requires deep introspection and an unwavering commitment to truth. Now, once you understand that, you are ready for this. God is not punishing you by telling you to stay still. He is preparing you, and preparation, by its very nature, is not glamorous. It happens in the hidden place. It happens before the platform, before the recognition, before the manifestation everyone will eventually celebrate. Joseph spent years in places no one celebrated: in the pit, in the prison, in the silence of what looked like abandonment. But every single one of those places was doing something to him that the palace could never manufacture. The prison was building the wisdom he would need to govern. The pit was stripping away the pride that would have disqualified him. The silence was teaching him to hear a voice that would one day speak through him to nations. What looked like confinement from the outside was consecration on the inside. This hidden season is not a delay, it is a developmental stage. Like a sculptor meticulously chipping away at a block of marble, God is revealing the masterpiece within you. The challenges faced in obscurity are not indicators of his displeasure, but rather the essential forging processes that shape character, instill wisdom, and cultivate resilience, preparing you for the grandeur of your calling. Your season of staying in is not your sentence. It is your seminary. And this brings us to something most people miss entirely. There are spiritual forces that have been assigned to interrupt this window, not after it, during it. The adversary knows that if you stay in this posture long enough for God to complete what he is doing, the assignment against your life becomes significantly harder to execute. So the opposition is timed. The temptation to leave, to scroll, to engage in things that drain your frequency, it doesn't come at random. It comes at the exact moment the preparation is becoming most potent. The moment you feel the strongest pull to step out of the sacred is often the moment you are closest to the breakthrough the enemy has been working to prevent. The enemy's strategy is precise. He seeks to abort the process at its most critical juncture, when the divine work within you is reaching its crescendo, when the transformation is on the cusp of yielding its fruit. That is when the subtle whispers of doubt, the overwhelming urges for distraction, and the seductive invitations to abandon your sacred space become most intense. This is not a sign of weakness on your part, but a testament to the immense power that God is cultivating within you. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part that breaks the cycle. Here is what has been keeping so many chosen people stuck in patterns they cannot seem to escape. It is not lack of faith. It is not lack of desire. It is not even the enemy in its most aggressive form. It is self-interruption. It is the habit of breaking your own momentum. It is the tendency to get within reach of what God is building and then unconsciously sabotage it because deep down, something in you doesn't fully believe you are allowed to receive it. And that disbelief, that quiet, internal contradiction, is not yours by nature. It was planted. It was planted through rejection, through comparison, through years of being overlooked, misunderstood, or told in subtle and not so subtle ways that you were too much or not enough. And what gets planted early in life grows roots that most people don't discover until they are standing at the threshold of their destiny, wondering why they cannot seem to cross it. This internal sabotage is a subtle yet potent force, often rooted in deeply ingrained beliefs formed during formative years. These seeds of doubt, sown through experiences of rejection or conditional acceptance, can grow into formidable barriers, preventing us from embracing the fullness of our divine inheritance. Recognizing these planted beliefs, these inherited wounds, is the first step towards severing their power and reclaiming the truth of our worthiness. This is the real work of these next 3 days, not just staying physically present, but staying spiritually honest. Allowing God to reach into the parts of you that you have kept protected not from the enemy, but from Him. The places you haven't let light fully enter because healing feels dangerous when you've survived so long by managing the damage alone. This introspection is an invitation to a sacred vulnerability, a willingness to expose the hidden places within your soul, not to the harsh judgment of the world, but to the gentle, healing touch of the divine. It's about releasing the armor you've worn for survival and allowing God's radiant light to illuminate and transform the shadowed corners of your being, ushering in a profound and lasting restoration. And yet, there is something beneath even that. The final layer of what this warning is truly about, the thing that will shift everything if you let it land, is this. God is not just protecting you from outside forces in this window. He is protecting the world from what you will become if you are not first made whole. Because the assignment on your life, the reason you have been chosen, the reason darkness has fought you so hard for so long, it is not small. And a broken vessel poured out prematurely does not bless what it touches, it floods it. God's timing is not cruelty, it is mercy. The delay was not rejection, the silence was not absence, the confinement was not punishment. Every single thing that has felt like a closed door was God refusing to let you go public before you were prepared to go deep. This revelation redefines divine timing not as a withholding, but as a profound act of love and preservation. Your wholeness is not merely for your own benefit, but for the sake of the world that desperately needs the pure, unadulterated expression of God's purpose flowing through you. A vessel that is not properly prepared, when filled to capacity, can overflow and cause unintended damage. God's meticulous preparation ensures that when you are poured out, you become a source of life-giving sustenance, not overwhelming force. You are not behind. You are being perfected for what is ahead. And here is the part you probably didn't expect. The thing that has been blocking your breakthrough isn't the enemy. It isn't your past. It isn't the people who hurt you, or the doors that didn't open, or the prayers that haven't been answered yet. The thing that has been blocking you is the version of you that is still trying to protect itself from God. The wall you built to survive the pain is the same wall that has been keeping the rain out, and God has been standing at that wall, not with force, but with patience, waiting for the moment you trust Him enough to let it come down. This final revelation points to the internal architecture of our own resistance. The very defenses we erected to shield ourselves from pain have inadvertently become barriers to divine intervention and breakthrough. God's approach is not forceful demolition, but a patient, loving invitation to surrender, to dismantle these self-imposed fortifications and allow His healing rain to nurture the parched ground of our souls. That moment is now. These next 3 days are not about isolation, they are about invitation. Every hour you choose stillness over noise is an act of warfare. Every moment you stay covered is a declaration that you trust the God who told you to stay. And every quiet surrender is building something in the spiritual realm that your natural eyes cannot yet perceive, but that your spirit already knows is real. Embrace this sacred interlude not as a period of withdrawal, but as an expansion of your spiritual capacity. Each deliberate choice for stillness becomes a potent weapon against the forces of distraction. Remaining within the divine covering is a powerful affirmation of your faith in the one who guides you. And each quiet yielding is an architecting of unseen realities, a tangible manifestation of God's work within you, a testament to the spiritual potency that your soul inherently recognizes. Place your hand on your heart and speak this with intention. I am covered. I am chosen. I am not moved by what I cannot see, because I trust the one who sees everything. I release the pull toward what is familiar, and I yield to what is sacred. I release every agreement I have made with delay, with fear, with the lie that says I have been forgotten. I am not forgotten. I am being formed. I receive the fullness of what these days are carrying for me. I will not interrupt what God is completing. I will not step out from under what is covering me. I trust the process. I trust the preparation. I trust the God who has never once failed me, even when I could not see his hand. I am ready. I am still. And I am exactly where I am supposed to be. If this message found you today, it was not a coincidence. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a word in the comments about what God is speaking to your spirit right now. Your testimony may be the confirmation someone else has been waiting for. And whatever you do, stay covered. The next 3 days matter more than you know.